Having a website for your business is one thing, but getting people to actually visit it is another. And maybe right now your website is a desolate place on the web and not doing much for your business. Or maybe you haven't even bothered to get a website up for your business yet because it seems like it's just going to turn into that desolate place on the web. So why even bother? Either way, it's time to fix that because it is a prominent piece of your client attraction system that right now you may be missing. There are simple strategies you can start doing today to get more high quality visitors to your website. Because I'm sure it's no surprise that the more website visitors you have, the more clients, customers, and sales you make. In this episode, I'm sharing 5 simple strategies to get more visitors to your website. So stay tuned. Hey there, I'm Shawn Mynar, and this is Unstuck Entrepreneur. I'm a former nutritionist who turned a struggling, stressful nutrition practice into a thriving, freedom-filled online business where I work from home in my sweatpants while reaching and helping thousands of people all at the same time. Now I'm obsessed with showing other heart-centered coaches, practitioners, and solopreneurs how to build a business and life they love. Consider this podcast your safe space to learn both the inner work and practical strategies required to build the impactful, profitable business of your dreams. No hustle, grind, or long hours required. That's right, hustle culture, not welcome here. Let's get into today's session. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Unstuck Entrepreneur podcast, and welcome to the final episode in the Website That Works series that we've been doing here on the show. This is the 3rd episode in a row that I've dedicated to talking specifically about your business website and how to actually make it work in your business, how to get new, fresh eyes on your work, how to get leads from your site, and how to get paying clients. So we're wrapping it up today talking about how to get visitors to even show up on your website so you can actually have the chance to turn those people into paying clients. Kind of important, kind of a big deal, probably something we should talk about here, and we're going to get into it. But first, it's the official launch of the Write Your Website bundle going on right now. I just want to chat about this for a second in a totally raw, real way so that you really understand what's included, what's involved, how it works, because it really is one of the coolest things I have ever put out into the world. I'm super, super proud of it. And I really don't know. I think it's quite different than anything else I've seen out there now to help build your website. I've not seen anything like this in the way that I have it laid out and so much of it done for you that I just want to gush about it a little bit, I guess. So here's the deal. I, as a copywriter, I put on my copywriting hat and I wrote prompts for every single section of the 4 main pages of your website. Multiple prompts, like anywhere from 4 to 10 different prompts for each section of your entire website. And in those prompts, it gives you the opportunity to, first of all, have this very professional, engaging copy while at the same time plugging in your own messaging, which means every single person, even if all of you were using the exact same prompt, it would sound completely different, which obviously there's tons to choose from. So there's no way any website would ever remotely sound the same, but it gives you the guidance you need to actually write your site in the way that it needs to be to engage people, to keep people there, to help people understand that you're the right person for them, that you can help them, that you've been there, that you know what's up, that you know what's going on in their mind, you know their obstacles, their challenges, their beliefs, and you also have this solution. And that solution is what they need. So that's very much kind of in this journey that we talk about here a lot. But now I've taken it to your website. I've written the prompts for you. And all you have to do is plug in your unique messaging into these prompts using the framework that I have laid out for you. And you have this completely transformed hub for your business. And then speaking of those sections, and I talked about the sections of your homepage in last week's episode as well, so that kind of showed you a little bit about how it's laid out, but I created a specific framework for every one of those pages that works for this coaching, practitioner, expert, service-based business specifically. And that came from a lot of studying and learning in the copywriting space, because this is not just like, oh, I'm just going to plug things in here and there. This is based on research, based on data, based on psychology. It's not just based on what I think is best. This is research backed, and also with my own experience and having 10 years of a website and finding things that worked and didn't work in my own business, plugging all of that in to create this framework, this flow that every single page of your website absolutely needs to have. And so I put all of that together, combined it all, and out came the Write Your Website bundle with over 220 copywriting prompts for every section of your site, 220 examples. So every single prompt that is in the workbook also has a real life coaching type business example. I use all different kinds of businesses, all different kinds of coaching and niches so that there was something for everyone. But even still, just having that as an example of seeing the messaging plugged into that prompt is so helpful and will keep you inspired to create your own. So 220 of those. And then I also created these mock-up design templates. So once you have written your copy, you know how you want it to sound, you know which prompts you want to use, and it's all been figured out, then you plug it into that design mock-up so you can see kind of how it all flows together, especially when it meets, your images and everything else that you need to include on your site. So you have that as this kind of draft layout. And then you can go in, and it's super easy at that point to find a design template and plug your copy into that design template. Because as we know, I hope I've said this before, and if I haven't, now I am, copy first, design second. For everything, not just your website, for everything. Copy first, design around your copy, okay? So you're gonna write your copy with the prompts, and then you're going to plug that into your mock design, see how it all flows when it's together, and then transfer it over to your design template, to your actual website, and hit the publish button. And if you are still not quite sure about your messaging, we've talked about messaging a lot here on the show, but if you're still struggling to really bring out the words that you need to say in order to get your dream client's attention and really speak to them, that is also part of this bundle right now as a bonus. The complete messaging magic workbook is part of that bundle. So literally everything you need to do this all and do it all in a very professional, well-written site instead of just throwing something up is all available in this bundle, and it will take you a fraction of the time to get this going than just to try to DIY this without any assistance and try to figure out what to say and where to say it and how to say it and what to include and what not to include. That's a lot. So we're going to take the guesswork out of it. We're going to get it done. We're going to make sure that it's a website that actually works, that actually shows up in Google, that attracts your dream clients, that is something you're proud of. So you want to send people to your website. And once they're there, it converts. It converts them into leads and they're on your email list. It converts them into paying clients. That is the goal. That is what we do inside the Write Your Website bundle. Right now, it is available for you to get started, get your website up and move on with your life and your business and cross that off your list forever. That is at ShawnMynar.com/website. Go check it out, see what you think, get started, and of course, super happy to have you. All right, let's move on to these strategies that you can use to get visitors on your website. And it probably goes without saying at this point, based on what we just talked about the past 7-8 minutes now, that first things first, you have to make sure your website is working. You have to make sure that it is a well-written, well-organized site that flows, that it is engaging, that it speaks to your dream clients, that it says the right things where they need to be said and draws them in. Because until you do that, the strategies aren't going to work. In fact, it actually becomes a repellent, because even if people are coming to your site, which they are, there are some people coming to your site, and if you start using these strategies we're going to talk about before your website is truly ready, then they'll come, but they will not do anything after that. They will bounce and they will go to someone else's site, or they will go check Instagram instead of staying on your website. That is obviously not the goal. That doesn't really do a whole lot for your business, because once someone has come onto your website and not had a great experience, chances are they're not going to go back. So instead, make sure your website is truly at the point you want it to be. Get your hands on the bundle, make it happen, and then use these strategies to really boost your conversions on your website that is ready to work. Okay, so now that that step is done and that conversation is out of the way, let's get people to your website. So I've shared this before. I shared this over on the website masterclass. So you may have already seen this. It's actually a graph, which you're listening to this as a podcast. You're not gonna be able to see this, but I think you'll still be able to get the gist of where my website visitors are coming from. So I have a graph in front of me showing 60 days worth of website visitors and where they came from. The first one, search engines, has 14,949 visits. The second one, Facebook, 808. The next one is Pinterest, 535. The next one is Instagram, 225. And then there's a bunch of others that barely even register, like minimal. But let's go back to these numbers. Search engines, basically 15,000. The next highest, Facebook, and I believe this is probably because of Facebook ads, 808. 15,808. So, whole message here, the vast majority of my website visitors come from Google. Like, vast majority. And that is with me like pretty proudly displaying my website everywhere. Still, number one refer by far is Google. So that is my number one, my first strategy for you to get more visitors to your website is make it searchable. Make it Google friendly. Make it Google's BFF. And that comes when you have an SEO optimized website. And this is also my favorite strategy because it's hands off. Like that 15,000 visitors came to my website without me really even touching my website for those 60 days. I, once a week, actually, my podcast editor, Chris, hey Chris, he puts a podcast episode up on my website once a week. Other than that, no one really touches it. And I still am able to get 15,000 visitors to my website. And then those visitors turn into email list subscribers, podcast listeners, social media followers, course purchasers, all the things. Okay, so there's a natural progression from those people coming to my website from Google and turning into leads and clients, which is pretty awesome. And like I said, totally hands off. But you need to have good copy to do this. And when you have good copy, it will naturally do this for you. I'm no SEO expert, and I didn't hire someone or pay anyone to do it for me. I just spent intentional time really writing my site, making sure that the words were good for my visitors, but also good for Google. And, I naturally did that. That's naturally part of the Write Your Website workbook. That's all baked in. So you don't really have to worry about that. If you're using the workbook, it will happen automatically because I plugged that into all of the prompts I laid out for you. So that's an option. That's what I did. the main thing that you need to do to make your website SEO friendly, besides just having good copy and not being confusing and not being vague, because Google doesn't like confusing or vague or cookie cutter or sounds like everyone else. Because if you sound like everyone else, guess what? None of you are going to be on Google. So really being unique, standing out, and having good copy is the ticket. But also, as an extra strategy, knowing your main key phrase, which for something like your homepage, your about page, your services page, that's going to be your main title, I guess, if you want to say, your identifier and your niche. So like for me, that is business coach for wellness coaches and practitioners. That's my main key phrase. So putting that in a lot of places, like really talking that up, which like I said, you will do that naturally when you follow the Write Your Website workbook, and you will have a key phrase and you will be SEO optimized. Okay, so remember, Google loves good copy. Let's make sure that is happening on your site, and that will be the big ticket, hands-off marketing strategy and way for you to get paying clients through Google. Yes, Google or any search engine, but I think the 99% of people use Google, so that's what I'm saying here. All right, the second one is you. You gotta share about your website. And this really happens when you have a website you're proud of. If you're currently not talking about your website that much, it's probably because there's some underlying resistance there. Like you're not totally convinced it's the best place for people to convert. It's the best place for people to get to know about you and your work. It might feel like there's something off still. And so you're not sharing about it as much as you should. But if you're truly, really proud of your website and you know it's doing its job, then you are just shouting it from the rooftops and making sure everyone knows to go there and just being really proud and loud about it. So you being the strategy to get more visitors to your website looks something like this. It will be linking to it in your social media accounts, which, you know, a lot of people use like the Linktree thing or something like that as their Instagram link. But if you have a website that is super engaging and really leads people in the right direction to get their freebie, to work with you, to learn more about your podcast and start listening and subscribe, that's really what we're putting in those Linktree things for the most part. So what if you just had this really awesome website and then you're putting that into your social media channels and people are going there regularly because you're also being like, hey, link in bio to learn more, and it's going to your website. So that's an option. And then linking to it in your podcast description or your YouTube description. So if you do have one of those platforms going for your business, then you should definitely be linking to that in your podcast. Like I think for this podcast, it's like within the first line. I think I say, hey, Shawn Mynar from ShawnMynar.com here or something like that right away. So that people who are interested in the podcast or maybe listen to one episode, now they're curious about me and my work, they will then go to my website. So you should have that linked up and that will automatically get more visitors. And same thing goes for your YouTube descriptions, your overall channel description, and each episode as well, each video. You can also send people to your website from other people's podcasts that you are a guest on, or if you do any guest blogging. So they're going to want to be like, where do I send people? And you have that opportunity to be in front of that different audience and send them to your really amazing website where they will then go further into your work, become a subscriber, become a paying client. So if ever you are on someone else's podcast, and even if that isn't an opportunity you've had yet, it will be someday. You need to have a website that is amazing before then, because I think I've shared my story. If not, I'll share it some other day. It's you don't want to get in that spot where you're kind of embarrassed about your website as you're sharing it with this audience that you just spent an hour warming up. And most likely the host that you are conversing with will ask your website handle. So be prepared. And then think about if you're ever at any networking events or you're ever at a speaking engagement or anything like that where you're either in front of your dream clients or you're in front of peers or with colleagues or friends or anything. Where are you going to send those people? You can't send them to some random landing page with your freebie and hope they'll sign up without knowing anything else about you or without getting warmed up a little more. You have to have that hub of your business, your home on the internet, and that easy place to send people. So any sort of networking thing, and again, even if that's not something that you've done in your business yet, there will be that opportunity in the future sooner than you think. And you have to be ready for that. And you have to have that place where you know when you send people, they are not going to bounce. They are going to get the information they need. They're going to feel the way they need to feel to take that next step with you. And in that same sense, like, what about just random people? Where are you sending them? Like the person you happen to talk to in the grocery store line that's actually a perfect fit, or maybe they have a friend who would be a perfect fit for you, or even just friends, family, acquaintances. You have to have that really simple, easy, great place to send people to. Again, like I said, it can't be a random landing page. It can't be a sales page. They're not there yet. You need to have that central place. So again, you are the person who is going to get more visitors on your website, and that comes from you sharing about it, which most likely comes from you first getting really proud of your website and knowing it's something that will actually move the needle in the right direction when you do send people there. All right, the third strategy, your referrals. So your clients, as you start building up your client roster, are going to tell other people about you and the work you do. They're going to recommend you. And where do you think they are going to send people to? Again, not going to be some random landing page, not going to be some sales page. It's going to be your website. So again, is that a true representation of you and your work? Is it something that you know when those people get sent there who they've already had one person, someone they probably trust, talk you up? So is your website going to continue to do that justice, going to continue building up that curiosity to the point where they then, reach out to you, want to chat with you, sign up for your newsletter, those kinds of things. So your referrals, something to consider, something to think about. Again, if you don't have clients yet, if you haven't yet had a client, but you're getting ready to, again, those referrals are going to come quicker than you think. Are you ready to have them go to your website? Number 4, your blog posts. And not just any blog posts, your SEO optimized blog posts. I believe I've shared about this before in several different episodes, so I don't want to go in too deep about this, but let this be your reminder that any old random blog post that you just decide you want to write about isn't enough. You have to do your research, know that it is something that your dream clients are searching for, know that it's something that gets put into the Google search bar, and then write your blog post accordingly. And also, when you write that blog post, share about it. Share about it on all your social channels, share about it in your newsletter, talk about it multiple times to start showing Google that that's a post that people are interested in, because as you get more visitors to that post specifically, then it will just continue showing Google that that's a really interesting post. It's something people want to know, and it will start ranking it in the Google search. Now, this is important for your overall website visitor strategy because, of course, it gets people on your website, but then based on how the rest of your site, really like the vibe of the rest of your site it will determine if that person who came there for that specific blog post then moves on to go to your homepage, to go to your about page, to check out your services page, to contact you. That is really what determines it. It's like that starting point, that initial door is open. And then do they bounce or do they continue down and get further and further into your work? So really important to the overall marketing strategy, the overall website strategy is just that one blog post that really is important to your dream clients specifically and shows up on a Google search. And then number 5, we have good old Pinterest. My good old buddy Pinterest. I love Pinterest, especially as part of your website marketing strategy, because Pinterest is one of the few platforms that actually wants you to get off of their platform and onto someone's website. It is a search engine very similar to Google. So, Google wants you to go check out these other websites, and so does Pinterest. So you can create a pin that directs people straight to your homepage or straight to your about page. It's quite cool. You can really link up any page that you want. And again, if you want to go the blog route, if you have a website that is set up well and has that vibe that will keep people continuing down the rabbit hole of your site, then even if someone comes to your website via a blog post, via Pinterest, they will still stay and do more things, get more involved on your site. So it's a very good opportunity to build up your email list and get paying clients and get more listeners of your podcast or more watchers of your YouTube or more readers of your blog or anything that you want people to do from Pinterest. So again, you can link up your homepage, you can link up your about page, you can link up your freebies, you can link up your blog posts, all great strategies. And also on Pinterest, there is a spot for you to put your website. I mean, really just think about like anything you sign up for, anything you use, anything you do, there is a spot for your website. Is it doing anything? Do you want people to go there, or are you kind of just having it in the background, knowing it's not really a true reflection of your work, knowing it's not really doing anything for your business because no one's taking action because you haven't set it up to be an action-taking system? That can change. That needs to change if you want a business that grows with a very hands-off strategy, hands-off marketing. Your website is a big piece to that. So let's make sure your website is actually working for you. Let's get it up and running so you don't have to worry about it. It can just be going on in the background as you go about your life, as your business grows. Just think about it. Wouldn't it be nice if people found you instead of you always spinning your wheels and spending your energy trying to figure out how to find people? What if the situation was reversed and people were just finding you and contacting you and signing up for your things in the background as you go about your business and life? That is the goal. That's what we're going to do here. You know I'm all about simplifying things for you. I want your business to be simple. I want it to be stress-free. I want it to be burnout-proof. I want you to enjoy it and not be efforting so dang hard with so little to show for it. Your website has to be part of your new and improved marketing strategy that actually works. And we will do that for you with the Write Your Website bundle. Get it today, get it going, get it up and running, get it crossed off your to-do list, and move on with your life. ShawnMynar.com/website to get going and get the introductory offer going on right now too. So go check that out, ShawnMynar.com/website. And until next time, take care.